Okay, dear team, dear HSA aspirants, and today we are dealing with On His Blindness. So, on his blindness, the poetry begins with the line, When I consider how my light is spent. So, this video basically, I found one of the best resources and well explained resource from Google, so I thought of sharing this with you all. So, this is the poetry, When I consider how my light is spent. Okay, it begins from here and On His Blindness was composed in 1655 and it was published without a title. It is one of the first references by Milton to his blindness. It refers to his in 1652. He had strained his eyes by reading late into the night, though blindness, the doctors had asked him to avoid hard study. This made his life difficult and hard. It pained him as he felt that he had done nothing great in the field of poetry till then. The present sonnet refers to the spiritual crisis of the poet. Its theme appears to be his blindness, but as we dive deep, we find that his blindness is only the starting point. The sonnet ends in deep religious note. It affirms Milton's firm belief in justice of God. It also seeks to justify God's ways to man, though the poet later devoted an epic to this purpose. The sonnet begins with a reference to his blindness and his poetic gift. It leads the poet to think of the parable of talents in Bible, Matthew 15:14-30. He is afraid of being scolded if he does not use the poetic gift given by God. He is willing to serve him, though he has no eyesight. He asks himself whether God would ask what he had done with his poetic gift. He also wants to know whether he would not take his blindness into consideration. Truth dawns upon him that it is not so. God neither needs our services nor the proper utilization of his gifts. His patience reveals to him who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. God is so and privileged those numerous angels serve him speedily and all the 24 hours. These servants have limitless power. He has nothing to worry about it. So the detailed summary, we can just like a simple summary. Now we will go for that. The sonnet begins with his deep pessimism. The poet became blind when he had hardly completed half span of his life. The whole world appeared dark and gloomy to the poet. His poetic talent, which was the gift of the god, seemed useless to him because he could not compose poetry in the absence of his eyesight. The poet is desirous of giving full account of his genius, but he is helpless because of his blind now. The poet suffers dejection in his soul as the Almighty God has rendered him blind. The poet asks whether God requires full work from a man who has been deprived of his eyesight, but immediately he hears the inner voice of patience. Patience consoles. Do you know it is a sonnet? So the patience part comes at the end, sestet, right? So patience consoles the poet, saying, God does not require the return of his gifts. His heart is kind and merciful. God does not depend upon the man's services. Thousands of angels are at his command, and they always carry out of his order over land and ocean. The people who bear their sufferings and responsibilities are also God's servants. Prayer in silence, complete resignation and dedication and submission to the will of God without any complaint indicate the true and real service of God. So, stanza one, when I consider how my light is spent half my days in the dark world wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent. Stanza 2, to serve there with my maker and present my true account, less a returning child. Death, God exact day labor light denied. I fondly ask, but patience to prevent. That murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts, who best bear his mild yoke. They serve him best. His state is kingly, thousand at his bidding speed, and post over land, ocean without rest, they also serve who only stand and wait. So let us discuss about some of the references from the textbook. These lines have been extracted from Milton's famous sonnet on his blindness. Okay, the poet had became blind at the age of 44. He had studied so hard with his weak eyes that his eyesight had gone. Anyway, I hope until here it is clear, and we will be uploading more videos in the coming days. So please be with me, and please subscribe my channel for getting the latest updates of my channel. Thank you very much.